Hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. We're excited you've joined us for today's session on your back to business omni-channel marketing campaign. I have a few housekeeping details before we get started. This session is being recorded and you should receive a link to the recording tomorrow by email. Please feel free to share this webinar content with colleagues that could not attend today. A question and answer session will immediately follow the presentation. If you have a question for our speaker, please type it into the questions box in your GoToWebinar panel on the right side of your screen. This webinar is hosted and sponsored by Suttle-Straus. If you don't know Suttle-Straus, we were founded in 1910, and over 100 years, our company has built up the equipment and expertise to handle almost any print project. We offer creative design services, web, sheetfed, and digital printing, displays and signage, direct and transactional mail, custom online marketing portals, kitting and fulfillment, promotional products, and today we're launching our new ConnectedMail solution for digital advertising. For more information on all our services, please visit us on the web at Suttle-Straus.com. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today's session. Morgan DIGIORGIO is our ConnectedMail product specialist and the go-to guide for providing omni-channel solutions. Morgan, I'm going to hand it over to you and you can take it away.
Thanks, Megan. So I'm really excited to share our new ConnectedMail product today. It is a integrated direct mail campaign where we're going to show you how by integrating digital into your direct mail campaigns, we can get you about a 23 to 46% lift on your direct mail conversion. But who am I? I am the product specialist for ConnectedMail. I have 17 years of professional experience in various business sectors where I was positioned in several leadership roles in business development, operations, marketing, sales, including a medical-based technology company where I'm a partner. I'm very well versed in technology platforms, including ad tech, where we're integrating digital for marketing solutions. I have a BFS in business administration. I am a licensed real estate agent, and I am a subject matter expert for marketing solutions that drive high response and results. Next slide, please, Megan. So before we get into our featured product today, ConnectedMail, I'd like to lay the foundation, and I would love to give you guys some takeaways. And in particular, what I would like to discuss is marketing strategy and content that is relevant to our time and space. We've all gone through quite a difficult time over the past few months in the current landscape. A lot of our clients have been dealing with more restrictive marketing budgets as a result of some of the pandemic-related downturn in our economics of our businesses. And I want to talk about what type of a marketing strategy is even more important when we're dealing with an economic downturn or potentially a more restrictive marketing budget. The first thing that we want to consider is how important a direct marketing tactic is. Direct mail is one of the most viable direct marketing tactics that there are. And this is where we're delivering a very specific message to a very specific person. And it's even more important if we're dealing with a restrictive marketing budget. We really want to trim all of the fat off of our marketing strategy. No more exposure-based or saturation type tactic. Although that is important, delivering a message to the person who is showing the highest level of interest or who we are most likely to get product or business out of right now is what is more important if I'm dealing with a restrictive marketing budget. Next slide, please, Megan. Now, knowing who you're marketing to is really the key to success. In fact, 65% of marketing is who you are marketing to. So when we think about our direct mail campaigns, we always seek to acquire a list of people that are going to be most likely to respond to us right away based on certain parameters like geolocation, demographic data, or we can get super niche here at Suttle-Straus in list acquisition. I mean, we can say, oh, they like teddy bears and unicycles. I mean, the way that we can compile a list of data for you is really unbelievable with the technology that we have in our mailing list acquisition department. But that being said, identifying who is most likely to respond to your marketing based on their interest for your products or services, and then utilizing a direct marketing tactic to specifically deliver that message to those people is what will be successful. Next slide, please. Tracking is so important. I want to know where every single one of my marketing dollars is being spent and how it is performing. Even if something is not performing well, I want to know that. I need to be able to make educated decisions and make changes and tweaks to my marketing strategy so that I can continue to improve upon the results that I'm experiencing. There's no perfect science to marketing. It is a lot of trial and error. Of course, we know a lot about marketing, the type of people that respond, the type of messaging, imagery, designs, and marketing channels that drive high response. But there is some trial and error. And I need to make sure that I can track what is working and what isn't working so that I can know how my marketing dollars are being spent and performing. Next slide, please. Be in it for the long haul. Marketing is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and we really need to be in it for the long haul. Repetition and consistency is what drives success. It doesn't matter what marketing channel that you're utilizing. Repetition and consistency is the name of the game. I wouldn't deliver just one email. I would not expect to see a billboard go up and come down in one day. And for the same respect, I really wouldn't want to just send out one direct mail piece just one time. Now, granted, it's one of the highest yielding response rated marketing channels there are, and you will definitely get a response, but you're merely just scratching the surface of the type of results that you would get if you were engaging in repetition and consistency. There are so many variables that come into play when we think about when is somebody ready to engage in business with us. Now, I know that when we're dealing with a more restrictive marketing budget, our first instinct is stop marketing. But we have to be marketing. We cannot stop the outflow, even to our existing customers. We need to make sure that they're hearing from us so that they still have the feel good, warm and fuzzies, because we do not want them going and looking for another solution, business, or other product or service than ours because they've stopped hearing from us. Next slide, please. So on average, an individual sees more than 2,900 marketing messages a day, believe it or not. I mean, that is a lot. So when we think about our marketing, what are we doing above and beyond just our traditional, maybe direct mail campaign or whatever channels we're utilizing? How are we creating an impression in our prospect's mind or even in our current client database? You will get sick of your imagery and branding before your target audience does. I can't tell you how many times I've seen clients want to, revamp their branding and their logo. Don't do it. People recognize your imagery, they recognize your branding, and triggering that familiarity psychologically is what reminds somebody and causes them to respond. Next slide, please. So I'd like to talk about email for a minute. Traditionally, email is our go-to when we're dealing with a restrictive marketing budget. And it's not a bad channel, okay, but it is saturated and convoluted, and it is not necessarily the best channel for prospecting for new business. Where it is the most effective type of marketing is when we're engaging our existing customers because we want to deliver information to them, or we want to make them aware of maybe new product or service offerings that we have. Remember, these are people that are our customers, our clients, they're used to hearing from us. And for me, when I'm doing business with a certain organization, I am typically on the lookout for things for them. Like, I purchase products and I wait for that 20% off coupon before I decide to engage. And it's on my radar, so I'm processing it when I receive it. But that being said, think about what we do in the morning when we check our email. I can tell you what I do: delete, 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 delete. And if something hasn't got my attention, it's gone. The average human attention span is 8 seconds. Direct mail is super effective because it takes 21% less cognitive effort to process than digital marketing. I read every single piece of mail that I receive. When we think about the average person sending and receiving 124 work emails a day, or 620 a week, which I'm kind of jealous of the stat because I unfortunately get a lot more. But we're spending about 1.1 minute on each email, and it's just not enough to really engage for prospecting behavior. Next slide, please. So I really like to take a look at the type of response rates that we typically achieve from various marketing channels. I hear very often, well, Morgan, I know you talk about how effective direct mail is, but it's expensive. Well, if we're looking at the cost of something, we really need to look at response. When I look and I see that I would have to do exponentially a lot more digital marketing to achieve the same response that I would acquire with direct mail, it's really not more expensive. But that being said, it is not direct mail versus digital or this versus that, because truth be told, you really should be diversifying your marketing. You don't want to put all eggs in one basket. They all have their time and their place. But why I'm so excited to talk about Connected Mail today is that the product is the perfect marriage between direct mail and digital, where you're going to be able to deliver a true micro-target omni-channel experience where you're taking advantage of the pros of all of these marketing channels in one bundled platform. Next slide, please. So direct mail is a very powerful tool. The median return on investment is 29% compared to online display at 16%. And people are more likely to respond to communication that feels personal. Direct mail is tangible, right? I have it in my tangible universe. And believe it or not, all ages actually respond very well to direct mail. There's a big misconception that millennials are only paying attention to what's being delivered in the digital space, when believe it or not, over 77% of millennials actually prefer to be marketed to via direct mail for products and services and actually purchase products from direct mail marketing. Direct mail pairs very well with digital marketing, and 56% of people think it's the most trustworthy form of all communication channels. I mean, that makes sense. Typically you don't see some hacker in a basement creating some corrupt type of direct mail marketing campaign like you do with these, phishing emails and things like that. Next slide, please. So this is one of my favorite articles because I'm sure, as you can tell by now, I'm a huge advocate of direct mail because it's effective and it works. But very rarely do we hear someone that is in charge of the bottom line or sales really attribute a huge reduction in sales to any one type of event or occurrence. We might get some fluff response like, well, XYZ occurred and we're doing XYZ and we're going to have a bang out next quarter. Well, in this article, Eric Nordstrom actually fell on his sword and said, listen, I messed up. I thought that I was going to be doing us a favor, saving us money. I didn't realize how effective our direct mail marketing strategy was at driving our loyalty customers into our stores to purchase more products. And so thinking he was going to save money, he cut his direct mail marketing budget from his loyalty program or his loyalty customers, which led to a huge reduction in foot traffic in his stores. And as a result, an ancillary huge reduction in his sales. Next slide, please. So I want to talk about how consumers respond to marketing. MIT did a study, and they showed that 90% of people will go online when they respond to marketing. That is how I respond. If I get a direct mail piece, I hear a radio commercial, I see a billboard, my friend says, you must look into this product, it's the best I've ever utilized. I Google them. I Google it and I go to their website, and 90% of people are doing the exact same thing, which is fantastic. They get on our site and that is where people convert. However, Google Analytics shows that 96% of people are leaving our website without doing what we want them to do. So they're just poking around, they're running some due diligence, and they leave. They don't even, at the bare minimum, fill out a web form letting us know that they're interested. So it's so integral that we have a very effective follow-up plan. We have effective marketing strategy, we drive traffic to our site, but 96% of people are leaving without doing what we want them to do. So how are we going to grab their attention again? How are we going to get them back to our site so that we get their business? Next slide, please. And when they leave, most likely, if they're a savvy shopper like me, they're going to go to your competitors. Sad but true, unfortunately, a portion of our marketing is driving traffic to our competitors. You know, I want to see what other businesses out there are providing the same products, services, and what their price points are. I'll even spend 30 minutes on Amazon looking at a similar product from 10 different sellers, reading the reviews and seeing who, you know, has the best product for the price. I'll even pay a little bit more for something if it's perceived to have a higher value. And your prospects and your clients are doing the same thing. So getting them back to us is super important, but also doing that so that we can acquire the business over our competition. Next slide, please. So I've talked about how effective direct mail marketing is, but it does have its challenges. It is an offline marketing channel, right? I can very easily gauge the results of my digital marketing. I can see with Google Analytics how many hits I'm getting to my site. I can track all of this, right, from end to end. But am I standing in somebody's living room, you know, seeing if they're responding to my direct mail? Or how do I know that somebody responded from my direct mail versus clicking on my digital ad or the email? How am I unmuddying the results when all roads lead to my website so that I know what my return on investment is for my direct mail marketing channel? And that's been one of the challenges over time, knowing how effective direct mail marketing is, but not really being able to show attribution or quantify the results. And ConnectedMail is now providing a solution for those challenges that center around direct mail as an offline marketing channel. Next slide, please. So what is ConnectedMail? It is a marketing-based solution that tracks the effectiveness of our direct mail, and we add an additional 8 to 16 touches every time you mail so that we can get you up into higher contact margins. In particular, the contact margins where conversion occurs so that we can get you an additional 23 to 46% increase in your conversion to your direct mail. Next slide, please. So how do we get these additional 8 to 16 impressions? Well, we do that by integrating a 7 technology platform onto your direct mail. And this is where we're getting you those additional touches. When we think about direct mail being a powerful and impactful tool, every time you send out direct mail, you are only getting 1 impression. And we know that repetition and consistency is what drives results. So it's really not surprising that when you add on additional 8 to 16 touches, you're going to see a lift in your response. We also transparently provide you access to a dashboard where you're going to be able to log in and see the results of each of these components working for you. Remember how important tracking is? Well, we're going to provide you access to all of that tracking so you can see how well your direct mail is working and you can see how well these ancillary digital technologies are working as well. Next slide, please. So I'm going to go into each of these technologies individually. And as Megan said before, if you do have a question, please chat it into the chat box. We're going to cover a lot of data here, and we'll get to them at the end. Now, the first technology is called SOCIALMATCH. Being a mail-centric product, we're going to take your mailing list. Next slide, please. And we are going to find the Facebook and Instagram accounts of the people on your list so that we can specifically serve up ads to them. Next slide. Now, what we're delivering here is a micro-targeted omni-channel marketing solution. And this differs a lot from what you traditionally see with social media or digital marketing. Traditionally, I'm delivering a very broad and general message to a very broad and general audience. With ConnectedMail, I am utilizing a direct marketing approach. Just like my direct mail, where I'm delivering and conveying a very specific message to Joe Smith at 123 Sed Street, with social media, I'm delivering a very specific message to Joe Smith at 123 Set Street, but through a social media account. We also have massive buying power with Facebook and Google. So as a result, we get to extend wholesale pricing for these digital technologies to our customers, and that's very attractive. Next slide, please. This is an example of the dashboard. When you log in, you're going to see how many accounts we were able to reach, how many times we displayed ads, and how many times those ads were clicked. You can also drill down into the demographic data of the audience you're reaching. For example, if you'd like to see how many accounts you reached and ad displays and clicks you got for the 65 and up demographic, you can check 65 and up. These stats will repopulate and you can see that saturation. Very important. A very large misconception is that we cannot reach an age demographic on social media, when truth be told, the fastest growing demographic on Facebook alone is 56 and up. Next slide, please. We also provide you with a mail tracking feature, and this is going to give you peace of mind that what you're paying for is actually being delivered. Next slide. We track each mail piece with an intelligent mail barcode, and this allows us to report data to you, like the percentage of your mail that's been delivered, when certain quantities are projected to be delivered, when they're confirmed as being delivered. And I can utilize this data to plan for staffing, right? Maybe I'm utilizing a staged staffing or staggered schedule. I know I want all hands on deck in the days following my direct mail being delivered. Or maybe I'm utilizing other channels like email marketing to enhance my direct mail. And I want my email to hit 24, 48 hours after my direct mail hit. I'm going to utilize these projections. Next slide, please. Now, we also provide granular reporting. So you will literally see each individual direct mail piece. You will see their name, the direct mail recipient, their address, when it was mailed and delivered. Now, if you've got a sales team on deck, my suggestion is to have them pick up the phone and call and follow up with these direct mail recipients 24, 48 hours after they receive their direct mail. A very aggressive marketing sales 1-2 punch is super successful. Hey, this is Morgan DiGiorgio at Suttle-Straus. I'm just calling to follow up on the offer that we sent you yesterday. I wanted to know, did you have any questions or was there anything that I could help with? Getting them on the horn, engaging in that type of aggressive follow-up is very successful. We've had a few clients that have engaged in this tactic and they have increased their conversion around 78%. Maybe you're vetting a hot prospect and you literally want to search and see, did John Smith in particular get his mail piece? You can do that. Next slide. Now, we also integrate with Google Maps. So just like Amazon shows me a picture of my package on my doorstep, we show you a street level view of where your mail piece is being delivered. A little tedious, to go in and drill into each mapping point, but you can see a high level view of where your mail is being delivered geographically, or maybe you want to just pull a few mapping points to get peace of mind with your list. Like if I purchase a list in a certain demographic, like home values in excess of $1 million, I don't want to see my mail delivered to an apartment complex. Next slide. Informed delivery. We take advantage of a mail-centric technology that is provided by the United States Postal Service. I encourage you to sign up for it and see what it's all about. You can do that on USPS.gov. Everyone signed up for this in the morning gets either an email or a mobile notification that will tell them what is going to be in their mailbox at the end of the day. But what that means for you is another impression, another touch with your target audience. They will see a grayscale image of the mail piece that they're about to receive, but we also embed a full color ride-along image underneath it that can be clicked on, and they go right over to your site where they convert. Next slide. So we actually just hit 30 million users with informed delivery. And the statistics are tremendous. It has a daily open rate of 69%, and an average click-through rate of around 7 to 8%. Now, anybody that engages in email marketing knows how astronomical these stats are. Traditionally, to a house list, people that are waiting to get my email are only getting opened about 18 to 22% of the time, and you would be lucky to get a 0.1% click-through rate on an ad like that. So, point being, if somebody on your list has informed delivery, you're going to get that exposure. You're very likely to get that engagement. It's a very powerful tool. Next slide, please. So on the right here, this is an example of what we see in informed delivery, that grayscale image, and then that respond now is an ad that can be clicked on. And we report to you the number of emails sent, number of times they were opened, and number of clicks. Next slide, please. Now, this is very interesting here because during COVID, February 1st through May 15th, we actually saw a 10.59% average click-through rate on an informed delivery ad. We do see as high as 11%, and it's just kind of staggering to me that during a point in time where I feel like the only excitement anybody got really was leaving their house to go to their mailbox. But we saw like some of the highest ever click-through rates on these informed delivery ads. So just proof in the pudding that people are clicking through on these ads even when they really don't have anything better to do than even go out to their mailbox. Next slide, please. So we also have a call tracking feature. This is where we assign a local or a toll-free number that rings over to a line of your choosing, and we do record the call for quality control for you. Next slide. We assign a local or a toll-free number that rings over to a line of your choosing, and we capture some really valuable data with this feature. When someone calls in, we capture the telephone number they're calling from, who they are, their address, is it a cell phone number, a landline, demographic data. There is so much value in this data. I can utilize these phone numbers to engage in call outflow. I can do text. I can text people if I aggregate out the cell numbers. I can append email. I can utilize it as a mailing list. And we can export all this data via CSV for import into your CRM. So you have the most up-to-date leads, prospects, and current client database list. Next slide, please, Megan. Now, we're going to report to you the number of calls that you received or number of leads that you got for people that responded by calling. And you do have an opportunity to listen to your calls. Maybe you're not seeing the type of conversion you'd like based on the amount of calls that you got in. Have the sales manager go in and listen to some of these calls. Maybe you just need to tweak something on your script and you can increase your numbers. Next slide. Now, I talked before about how integral it is to re-engage the people that have responded to your marketing or have gone to your site, right? Because 96% of people are leaving without doing what we want them to do. They're not converting. 80% of sales occur between the 8th and the 12th contact. This is why repetition and consistency is what drives success. If it takes me 8 to 12 contacts to really get to that conversion percentage, I need to be utilizing repetition and consistency. And with ConnectedMail, we're getting you that repetition and consistency on top of a super impactful marketing channel, direct mail, so that you can increase your conversion. Now, the whole point of this product is to get people to respond to the direct mail. So if someone hasn't clicked on the SOCIALMATCH ad, the informed delivery ad, or responded to the direct mail, we're going to attempt to drive them to your site through Google as well. We will take the mailing list. We will target first the zip codes on that mailing list. And we will do a keyword key phrase overlay, and we will display ads to people that find your ads relevant, driving relevant leads to your site, And additionally, the direct mail recipients, when able to be identified to your site as well. For everyone that responds and goes to your website, we utilize cookie-based retargeting, and we will re-engage them over and over again. Next slide, please. Now, this is very effective. Actually, the stat was just updated. People that are retargeted are actually 74% more likely to convert on your website. And with this connected mail platform, we've seen an increase in conversion on the low end of 26%, but even as high as 43%. Next slide, please. And we do report to you the number of people we are following with your ads, the number of times the ads were displayed, and the number of times that your ads were clicked. If we're talking about, something other than just buying a pair of shoes, we really need to get up into these higher contact margins. We're really not sure when somebody's ready to convert, and there are so many variables that come into play. Maybe the finances aren't right. Maybe I'm considering something, but it's not completely broke yet, so I don't have an immediate need. Maybe I need to talk to a decision maker or my husband. Maybe there's some type of emotional tie to it. I mean, the variables go on, and that's why re-engaging over and over again until that serendipitous moment occurs when somebody's ready to engage is what really is successful. Next slide, please. Now, we are also going to re-engage the people that responded and went to your site on social media. Social media is one of the largest platforms utilized digitally. People spend way more time on there than they really should. And it's the perfect platform to re-engage people that have shown an interest in your business, product, or service. Next slide. Now, in the beginning, we are specifically engaging the people on your mailing list. And what best practices is shown is that we really are best concentrating our efforts on the back end and re-engaging the people that have communicated or shown an interest already, people that you're most likely to get business or product out of right now. So we continue to have them and re-engage until you get that business. Next slide. We're going to be serving up ads through their social media news feeds. So as they're scrolling through their posts, some friends' pictures, they will see your ads there. Looks like an ad displayed by you through your Facebook business page. And what we report to you is the number of people we are following, the number of times the ads were displayed, and the number of times the ads were clicked. Next slide. Now, LEADMATCH. This is really a game changer for marketing, okay? I can put Google Analytics on my site. I can track how many people are coming to my site from a digital marketing, standpoint, but all I'm getting is a number, okay? With LEADMATCH, we can identify unique website visitors that are going to your site. Literally people that are raising their hand and saying, hey, I'm on your website. I am interested in your business, product, or service. And we can give you 95% accurate contact information so that you can follow up with them. We are literally building you one of the most viable mailing lists that there are. Next slide, please. So when we think about marketing, right, we've talked about how the hugest point on marketing is who we are marketing to. In fact, 65% of marketing is who we're marketing to, right? And I can purchase a list of people that may or may not be interested based on certain demographics, or we can literally give you a list of people on your website that are telling you they are interested so that you can retarget them with direct mail. Because remember, 96% of people are leaving your site without converting. So how are you going to know who they are? How are you going to re-engage them? And we've been sending out a direct mail piece to these LEADMATCH leads. We've been seeing around a 9 to a 19% response rate when we hit them with a direct mail piece. That is astronomical. And it's really not surprising because when you think, well, it's a person that's showing a very high level of interest, they're on your site, literally looking, for your business, product, or service. And then we're going to give you 95% accurate contact information so that you can deliver that message to them with your marketing at the right place 95% of the time. Now, after we identify your web traffic, we are also going to show you who came to your site from your direct mail campaign. So you send out 100,000 pieces, we can show you, hey, these 253,000 are the ones that actually went to your site and responded, because 96% of those people you're not going to know because they're not telling you. Those are the people that you want to follow up with. Those are the people you're most likely to get business out of right now. Next slide, please. So the way that this works, we first identify the person on your site via their IP address. We then look into their unique device ID, because not everybody pings off of an IP that is registered to them. So we want to give you 95% accurate data for this lead, right? So we look into the unique device ID, the cookies on the device. We take all of that data and ping it across a 300+ point patented match system. And that is how we deliver to you a 95% accurate contact information for the lead. This product is 1 part patented, 1 part patent pending. There are other lead acquisition platforms out there, but they typically search just via IP, or maybe they won't give you the list. And we're more about quality than quantity. So we don't identify 100% of web traffic. I don't want to give you a maybe lead. I want to give you a 95% accurate lead with data that you can reach this person. So say you had theoretically 1,300 people to your site. I can identify who 900 of them are and give you a 95% accurate residential address for that lead. I can only give you residential address due to privacy restrictions, but there is nothing wrong with taking that data and appending first name, last name, or other information once I have that 95% accurate address. Now, after that, I can show you, well, you had 179 people that came from your mailing list. These are your hot prospects. Send them a direct mail piece. Send them your best offer. What do you have to do to get the business from them after they've already shown an interest and left? Next slide. Now, this is really interesting, okay? This is an example of a dashboard for one of our nonprofit fundraiser campaigns. And you can see here that it shows that our client got 5 calls. Pretty underwhelming, if you ask me, right? 38,376 mail pieces sent, and I only got 5 calls. I want my money back. I feel like, wow, this campaign was really not very successful, right? But with LEADMATCH, if we look up here, I can see that 945 people, and remember, this is not 100% of web traffic, but I can see 945 people responded from my direct mail. Because how do people respond to marketing? They go to our website. They don't pick up the phone and call most of the time. They go to our website. That is a conversion, converting to our site. Wow, now I know people were interested in this direct mail campaign, and because of LEADMATCH, I know who they are so that I can follow up with them. Next slide, please. So what is retargeted direct mail? Well, the definition of it is sending custom mail pieces to customers and or prospects who are engaging with an organization on a digital channel. So when someone goes to my website, I can turn around and send them a direct mail piece. We have been seeing around a 9 to a 19% response rate when we engage in this retargeted direct mail tactic. 47% of marketing respondents said retargeted direct mail increased their conversion. And it's not surprising, you know, we're utilizing a product like LEADMATCH because it's right person, right place, right time. It's like the silver bullet of marketing. Next slide. So what we've been talking about today is an omni-channel marketing approach. where we are delivering and conveying the same message across multiple channels. We come out of the gate with one of the highest yielding response rated marketing channels there are, which is direct mail. We follow up in one of the most cost-effective ways possible with digital marketing channels, and then we re-engage with direct mail. Next slide. So I just want to point out how effective a product like ConnectedMail is. Even though during COVID, February 1st to May 31st, direct mail volume was actually down over 40%. But during that time period, our enhanced direct mail impressions were actually up over 8.07%. So by utilizing a product like ConnectedMail, you can create this ongoing marketing solution that's driven by your direct mail, but where you can continue to re-engage digitally until you get that conversion. Next slide. So this is one of our campaigns. It was a nonprofit. We can just see how effective an omni-channel is versus a traditional direct mail campaign, where you're just getting one impression. I mean, 4 weeks out in this enhanced direct mail campaign, they sent out a little over 5,000 pieces. They had 176,782 impressions. That's a lot more engagement than if you had just sent out direct mail. Next slide. So with our ConnectedMail products, traditionally what we see is around a 23 to 46% lift. It's a very effective product in terms of results, and it's also very cost effective, where for just a few additional cents per mail piece, we're able to deliver this entire 7 technology platform to you. Next slide. So questions.
Thanks, Morgan, for that informative presentation. We will now open it up for questions. If you have a question for Morgan, please type it into the questions box in your GoToWebinar panel on the right side of your screen. While everyone's submitting questions, I'm going to put a poll question up so you can let us know if you'd like more information on ConnectedMail. We can get you a brochure that describes all the 7 technologies. We can schedule a private demo to show how a campaign like this would work within the system, or we can get you pricing on an upcoming mailing project that you have in mind. You can check as many boxes in the poll that you are interested in. Well, Morgan, we've got a question here from Anne, and she says, with SOCIALMATCH, are your lists matching based off email addresses?
Good question, Anne. So being a mail-centric product, we do not need email address in order to identify on social media. Traditionally, we identify via first name, last name, city, state, zip. That being said, email is a unique identifier for social media, and if you wanted to increase your match rate, then you can add email to your list, but we do not need it.
Great. Zach asks about call tracking. Can you send the calls to different numbers based on the incoming area code?
Good question. So we cannot route calls to different phone numbers utilizing one call tracking number. But what you can do is utilize multiple call tracking numbers in a campaign and route them to different phone numbers, like different sales reps' cell phones or different call centers. But that being said, also, the call tracking number just works as an overlay on your existing phone line. So say, for example, when somebody calls into your phone line, if that automatically routes calls to different area codes or different locations, the call tracking number is not going to negate any of that. It will still follow that normal phone tree system, and it will follow the call all the way from inception to its destination.
Great. Hans wants to know, as a whole, do you see universities as a business making use of this tool to reach out to potential students? He says, I feel they may be slow to embrace this kind of technology.
Yeah, actually, this is a huge product in higher education. The only time that it's not utilized is like when the higher ed location will give us, they have like we've heard a misconception that, oh, we don't want to be bothering, people with these type of ads, or we don't want to be following them around. The thing is that people actually prefer to be marketed to this way. People prefer to see messaging of things that they are actually interested in. But we've had a lot of success in the higher education space for a couple of different instances. One being nonprofit sector, where they're soliciting donations from their alumni, and also for new student enrollment, where they've been doing either their on-campus or virtual event, open house events. But super effective product, because think about it, higher education is very competitive, especially in an economic downturn where people are making more decisions to go to maybe a local or community college as opposed to higher ed if they don't have some type of scholarship opportunity. And it's very competitive. You need to re-engage them over and over again. And we need to do that with the students and parents of, and keep that omnipresence right in front of them. Hey, don't forget about us, or hey, we're having this event, and keep driving them back to you, because the more impressions that you get, the more familiarity they'll have, and people go with what's familiar. That's really what works in marketing. But we've had a lot of success in the higher education space. Very good question.
Great. We got a question from Helena, and she says, how are you matching website visitors if not by IP address?
Oh, so we do. Yeah, we do search via IP first. We just utilize 3 different touch points because IP is really limiting. Not everybody pings off of an IP that's registered to them. If you're at work, you don't have any affiliation with that IP. I mean, listen, earmuffs, boss man, but that's where I do the majority of my searching, because it's where I spend most of my time, and I don't have any affiliation with the IP address there, but we do search via IP first. That's our first touch point, but then we take it into the unique device ID. So that could be my work device, or my cell phone, like my cell phone's registered to me, but maybe my cell phone's not registered to me. Maybe I'm on my husband's plan and the phone's registered to him. So then we look into the cookies on the device. Like all my apps that are downloaded on my phone, those are all registered to me, my Apple ID. My phone even knows that I go to Starbucks every single day, and if there's traffic, it'll say, 15 more minute traffic time or whatever. Like my device knows all my behavior. Even on my work device, I'm checking my personal bank account and my personal email. And we take all of that data that we acquire, and then we ping that across our 300+ point patented match system. And that's how we're able to pull out that 95% accurate residential address. So a lot of other lead acquisition platforms out there, when you're just searching via IP, that's limiting. You're getting a maybe lead. I don't know, may or may not be the person. And the cool thing about LEADMATCH is that even when people that are using a virtual private network, you can even still identify them sometimes because of the device ID. So it's very effective.
Great. And we have a question from Drew here who says, can we talk cost? I guess I'll respond to that. We have a very transparent pricing on the ConnectedMail product. It depends on how many people you're mailing to. So the cost could be as high as 15 cents per piece if you have a small mailing list. But it could go as low as 5 cents per piece if you're mailing to a very large mailing list. So we can get you a custom quote based on the size of your list if you just talk to your sales rep. And it would be in the brochure if you want a copy of the brochure.
Yeah, and I love that because anybody that is used to doing digital marketing is paying, $6 per click or per impression or your budget, and everything centers around the mail piece. It's a fixed front-loaded cost. And so it doesn't matter if you have 100,000 ad displays or 1,000, your cost is the same. You don't pay more for clicks. And it's really great to have management over your budget coming out of the gate.
Right, you're going to know all your costs up front, and those pennies cover all 7 technologies at once, so it's not a la carte or priced out, anything like that.
Right.
Morgan, did you get any questions through on your end?
Yeah, so one person asked, do you need access to my Facebook account to run these ads? And we don't. So we don't need username, password. We send you a request to display ads as a third-party advertiser. And then when the ads are displayed, it looks like you're displaying them. It's just a pass-through from our online ad manager's account. Another question here was, how long does this campaign run? Which is a good question. So the campaigns run in 30-day increments. They start on the mail date, and then they will run for 30 days. If you don't mail again and re-up your 30 days, you can pay a small maintenance fee to maintain the big list of followers that you've built up and to continue your digital ads alone, so you can continue that engagement until you mail again. This other question, this is great. Can I use LEADMATCH before I mail? So even though this is an all-encompassing 7 technology platform, we can actually isolate our LEADMATCH pixel, put the LEADMATCH pixel on your website and start building you a mailing list, then buy the leads and mail to them. So you can utilize the LEADMATCH technology as a standalone product. And then of course, when we buy the leads, mail and add ConnectedMail on, you'll continue to build more leads, and then you'll be able to see that attribution to the mailing and know who's actually responding to the direct mail.
Okay,
So
we had a question from Sandra. She says if they have a online retail, would LEADMATCH tell them the specific products people are looking at so they could put a picture of that product in their mail piece?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We are not able to tell the specific products, but we will tell you the top 5 URLs that that website visitor went to. So if you have, a couple of different products or services, we'll be able to tell you, okay, this person, was on this page, and then you can send them a personalized direct mail piece. Now, that being said, the way some of our clients utilize this is like on an abandoned cart feature. Like people will go to their conversion page and they add to cart and they abandon, right? So you can take those leads, tie it into your back-end data, and you can identify, hey, what were those products? But for the most part, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, they were on this product page, and then we can send them personalized direct mail in that regard.
Great. Well, if you don't have anything else, I think that's all the questions we had. If you think of a question you didn't have a chance to ask, you can always email them to marketing@Suttle-Straus.com, and I can get back to you or connect you with Morgan. Everyone should watch their email tomorrow for a link to the recorded presentation and slide. And if you've requested a brochure, demo, or pricing quote, someone will follow up with you for those items. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, guys.